So the first thing you're going to want to do when swapping these E90 inner tie rods to your E36 is remove these clips which hold this boot in place. And I wanted to just show you guys an example of what I'm doing to get them off. You can kind of see there's like a couple of teeth sticking up there. Basically take this tab with like some needle nose pliers and you just pull it back up and over those teeth, and then this clip will just come right off. I'm gonna try to actually do it on camera. There she goes. And there you have it. This boot is ready to come off. At this point, our outer tie rod needs to now be removed. What you're gonna wanna do is break that nut loose there, but still keep it on. And then you're gonna use a pickle fork. Yeah, sneak it right in there. There it goes. All right, tie rod is now loose. We can finish taking that nut off, and then we'll actually take the outer tie rod off. You need a 21mm wrench. It's gonna fit on the outer tie rod itself. And this is probably like a 25 or a 27. I'm gonna just use vice grips, and that's gonna do the trick, no problem, I can guarantee it. Oh, you're all good. Appreciate it though. I did not count how many turns this thing came off with. But it doesn't matter, I guess, because we're completely swapping the inner tie rod anyways. But you're gonna wanna hold on to this. This goes on the end of here. Next, pop this boot. And wow. So you're gonna need to keep this rubber piece too and swap it over. So this goes at the end of the boot. Goes on the small end. So this is where my tool comes in. I bought this tool on Amazon. I forget how much it was. It couldn't have been more than like 50 bucks. And it's got a multitude of sizes. This is like a tool specifically for doing an inner tie rod. Keep it 100%. I don't know how to use it yet. There's a locking washer that's on there. You can kind of see it folding over there. And that's kind of stopping me from being able to use this tool. So the first thing you're going to want to do is use a hammer with a flathead screwdriver or a chisel and just kind of push that back, and actually just try to push all of it back around the whole entire thing, just to make as much room as possible for this tool to sneak in there. Now, if you don't have this tool, literally just take some vice grips to this MFer, because obviously this is junk. You're not going to be reusing it. Just putting this outer tie rod back on just loosely, because then the rack isn't going to move while I'm trying to hammer this washer back. Knuckles getting in. Not quite time to install the E90 inner tie rod yet, but I just wanted to show you guys why I'm about to do what I'm about to do. So if you look at this, I mean, that's gonna be some pretty significant toe out. Like if you're looking at just straight down the line of the car, that rotor is angled outwards. And then heading over here, that doesn't even have any changes done yet. That's still the stock lower control arm, and inner tie rod. So when I go ahead and swap over the new ones, the toe out's going to be even worse than it is now. And to combat that, what we're going to go ahead and do is grind off about 1 inch of the threads on these E90 inners. And what that's going to do is allow us to get the alignment a lot more dialed. So I'm going to cut 10 threads off of this with the grinder tool. I left this nut on here so that what I can do is basically make sure that it threads off, which, yeah, we're golden. It basically just acts as a die. A little metal shavings off of there. Thread it on again. Nice. Oh yeah, we are solid. I'm gonna keep this around just so I know how much to take off the other side. I just wanted to mock this up real quick without the boot on so I could show you guys why exactly we're adding these E90 inner tie rods. Comparing where the head of the old inner tie rod would sit, these E46 lower control arms, they bring that rotor out another about 1.5 inches, give or take. It's about 3.5 centimeters. And so looking at this, it would never work with the original inner tie rod. So that's why you got to move up to the E90 inners. For final assembly, throwing Loctite on this. Throw this in there. So then we take our tool. And it's ready for the impact. Putting it in there on the first setting first, just to get it started. And then I move up to the second setting. I feel like the third is... Move up to 2. That should be fucking... That should be solid. Again, so you got this piece here, sits on the inner tie rod. One side is kind of flat. You want to make sure that this side with the taper, like cone looking end, goes towards this. And what this is going to do is kind of lock it down onto the threads once you get it where you need it to be. Throw that boot back on there. Okay, get that rubber piece on. Basically, this is gonna slide right past where the wrench would fit on this thing to adjust it. Sometimes that boot needs a little convincing, but there you go. Got that complete. Throw your locking nut back on there. Put it all the way up there, because again, with these E90 inners, they're so much longer than the E36 that this outer tie rod is gonna be pretty much maxed out even still, and I might have to take more material off this. It's really just a game of like trial and error. So I just kind of get it close. Got it. These clips that held the boots onto the rack and the inner tie rod, I tried saving them, not happening. Zip ties it is, so I'll come back with the finished product. So there you have it, E90 inner tie rod, zip ties on the boots, looking super professional. It's gonna need a lot of work alignment wise. Like right now it's definitely towing out, for sure towing out. I might end up having to take a little bit more off of the tie rod, the inner tie rod that is, but we'll see. In the meantime, I'm gonna throw some coilovers on here.